On December 27th last year, Israel unleashed Operation Cast Lead, and it was a massive military campaign with air, land, and sea assault to stop the rocket attacks by Hamas into Israel and other Palestinian groups. We went in to look at the conduct of the parties during the conflict, Hamas and Israel, and we found another layer of abuse, which was Hamas's actions against its own citizens. Hamas took advantage of the chaos and went after its opponents. It cleaned house. They went after people suspected of collaboration with Israel, but also its political opponents, even people who were just criticizing Hamas. So a very brutal internal crackdown that came under the cover of the Israel-Hamas conflict. Hamas targeted especially members of Fatah, its chief rival, and members of Fatah's security forces. It detained them, it beat them, tortured them, in some cases leading to deaths. A particular tactic that Hamas used during the Israeli campaign was kneecapping or shooting in the leg. There were 49 such cases documented by local human rights groups, mostly Fatah members and supporters, and I interviewed 4. One man I interviewed in Egypt. He had made it out of Gaza for medical care. He's sitting in a wheelchair, and he was shot because he welcomed the Israeli attacks. One man, however, told us he was on the street speaking critically of Hamas, and someone overheard what he was saying. And that night, 12 men came to his home, dragged him outside, took him around the corner, and shot him repeatedly in both legs. He was not even a Fatah member, simply someone who objected to the policies of Hamas. On the second day of the Israeli offensive, Israel bombed parts of Gaza's central prison. About 200 people were in the facility at the time. Some were wounded, but most escaped. Hamas security forces and masked men who we believe were connected with Hamas tracked down 18 of these men and killed them. Most of these men were in the prison accused of collaboration with Israel. The internal crackdown by Hamas did not stop when the Israeli offensive ceased. 14 Palestinians have died at the hands of security forces since the Israeli offensive stopped, and 4 of them were in detention. So Hamas cannot argue that this took place uncontrollably during the war. It is a mockery of Hamas's claim to establish law and order in Gaza, and it is a double suffering for the Gazan citizens on top of Israel's massive offensive, which has destroyed so many lives. On top of that is now an abusive local authority, Hamas, which is abducting people, torture, killings in detention. The Gazans are getting it from both sides.